is Anna from All DIY Crafts, and I'm going to be trying to do another tumbler, and this time I'm going to try and combine a water slide on a dark tumbler. I've already got I mixed 10 mLs of A and B. I've already stirred them for a few minutes. Now I'm going to go ahead and combine them. I'm going to try to keep my sticks all together here. So I'm going to go ahead. And we're going to put the glitter on with the epoxy method. I've never done this before. It looks like it helps chunky glitter lay down a lot easier. I'm going to stir this for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll be back and then we'll start our little project. Okay, I have it all mixed. I've gone ahead and I've already spray painted the cup white, and I do have electrical tape up top. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a very thin layer, and I am going to use my hands for this. And I always have my machine on before I apply my epoxy, just so I don't get epoxy on my switch. And I'm just trying to make it a real thin coat. And I did 10 mLs in each of 10 mLs of A, 10 mLs of B, so I have about 20 mLs here. Don't forget to get the bottom. I'm also worried about how I'm going to get the bottom. I guess I just place it in. I'm used to like setting the cup on top when I do it with the Loctite, so we'll see how this works. And I'm actually doing this cup for my friend Shannon. I promised her a cup for quite a few months now. And I know I'm going to be working with her soon, so this is probably the best opportunity I'm going to have. Now what's really nice is whatever whatever epoxy is left over here, if it dries in there, it peels right out. It's like when glue dries, it just peels off your finger. It's the same thing here. And on the sticks too. I'm just making sure we have a nice thin coat. I just want all the drips. Make sure I have a nice thin coat. I've never done it this way before, so we'll see how it works. Okay, so now I'll just use the silicone brush and make sure. And then I'm going to remove this mat. I have something underneath it to catch the glitter. I just want to make sure I have a nice thin coat. Okay, now what I have is a red chunky glitter, and I'm just going to go ahead and start applying that. Apparently this makes it a lot easier with the chunky glitter, so we'll see. I'm up to try anything new. This is a glitter I've had for a while, so it's good for my little experiments here. But I'm actually quite happy with the coverage here. So what I'm going to do, see, I'm used to just taking the cup and just touching it on the bottom, but I can't do that. It looks like I got pretty good coverage there. As far as the bottom, which you really can't see, I don't have great coverage. Like I said, I will go ahead and put a sticker on there. Although I honestly don't think Shannon cares. I care, but she wouldn't. Actually, I think it was the glare. I do have good coverage down there. I couldn't tell because it's so shiny. I thought it was white spots when in fact it's just sparkling. Okay, so we're just going to let this turn. And it does let you skip a step. I do think that this glitter is so chunky that I am still going to need to seal it and re-epoxy it, but that's fine. I'm just going to let this go ahead and set and save this glitter, and that is the first part. Okay, and we're back. So we let it turn for about 6 hours, and it didn't sink into the epoxy like I thought it would. It was a really strong hold, I'll give it that. I think I didn't use enough epoxy, so moving on, what I did was I took it out, I sealed it just to make sure. I put the the electrical tape on the ends, and I'm just going to re-epoxy it. So I'm going to go ahead, I've already mixed A and B for 3 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and combine them into this one and mix for 3 to 5 minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll start our epoxy. Okay, so we have it all mixed together, and you can hear the fan going on in the back. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start. This is a chunky glitter. I mixed a little bit more epoxy than usual. I think here I did 15 mLs each. And I already have my turner on, so I don't have to mess with it when I have all this stuff on my hands. This is going to need I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to try to put a decal on it. So we're going to need to epoxy this a 3rd time. Okay, so we're going to let it turn, and then we will be back. Don't forget to set a timer so that you can take this off after about 20 to 30 minutes, your little electrical tape. Okay, so our cup has dried. It does have some ridges on it, so we're going to need to get rid of it. I'm going to go ahead and put on this mask, my dishwashing gloves. I have warm water with Dawn in it, and then we're going to go ahead and start sanding. I did not put electrical tape here, which I probably should have, so I don't scratch this part. I'm just going to be very careful. Okay, and I believe our cup is done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rinse it off, let it dry, and then we'll go ahead and get our decal ready. Okay, now this is dry, and I went and I found some Oracle 651. I use 651 or 631 because it's going to be epoxy down anyway. And then the next thing I'm going to do is the top logo. It's going to be a circular marine logo. What I'm worried about is this tapers down like that. And so if it's a big logo and you start tapering it down, you can tell it's going to start overlapping over here. And it's not like I can cut it and mold it because it won't work very well. You'll see. So I think the max I will do on this logo is about 2.5 in diameter. And then I'm going to maybe put something to offset it down here. And I think I can go about the same. I know on the back I can make her name about 4 by about 1.5. And by the time I get to my Cricut, I always write all this down because I'll just come right back. I check one more time for any dark or any sharp ridges. This is sanded, so you'll see that it's a little dull. I use the Dawn liquid face mask in the water, and that helps keep the dust down in case you, especially in case you can't go outside. It's really helpful. We'll go ahead and go to our Cricut and we'll start designing. Okay, so now we're in Cricut Design Space, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up a design I already have, and I've already uploaded it, but I'll upload it again just so you guys can see how I did it. So I'm going to go to Upload Image, Browse, and I'm going to find the file it's in, and then we're going to open it. So this is going to be a print and cut file. I'm going to go to Complex, hit continue, and now I'm going to erase everything here. I'll hit continue, and I'm going to hit save as print and cut file, and I'll just put it here too just so I can find it later. Save. So then I'm going to go ahead and hit upload, insert images. So we know we have a red cup. I'm going to first of all resize this to, we said about 2.5 inches. And that's about right there. And the image looks good enough that it's going to do pretty good with the print. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to duplicate, and I'm going to put it here. I'm not going to change the size. I'm going to make this one, that's going to become a cut file. That's going to be the vinyl underneath this one here. So I'm just going to move these around. And usually what I would do is if I'm going to be using the Waterslide paper, I would go ahead and do a whole bunch of designs here so I don't waste a piece of paper, but just for simplicity so we don't get this canvas too busy, we're going to keep it simple. Now the one thing is I want to put her name on the cup, and I also want to put USMC on the cup. And I'm not sure about the colors because this is a white canvas that's on the screen. As you can see, yet our cup is a red glitter. I'm going to go here to blank canvas, and where it says color here, I'm going to turn it to red. I guess this kind of red will be good. That way I can kind of get an idea. It's not perfect, but it'll give me a basic idea of how everything's going to look on this cup. So we have that. Now we're going to go to text, and I've already ahead of time picked out some fonts. So the first thing I'm going to do is USMC. And I'm going to go ahead and change this font to, I already put it in here, we're going to do Freshman. And we're going to do about 2.5. I'm going to actually unlock it, make it maybe just a little bit bigger. And so I'm not sure the black's going to show up so well, so I'm going to go here. And I do have a gold, kind of gold vinyl, so we'll put this here so we can kind of see how it's going to look on the red. I think that'll stand out nicely. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to make her name. And I did check her name because you know how people like to spell names differently sometimes. So I confirmed how her name was spelled. And then I'm going to go here, and on this one I'm going to do that, I think it's called QWERTY script. So we know that the letters are, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go to letter space, and I already know that this is going to get a little bit too close. But let's just go ahead and do it. So we're going to do, because I want these letters to be a little bit closer together, but you can see how this H and the S are not going well. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that these other letters are, make sure I spelled her name right. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit, first of all, I'm going to move this to a line so that I can make sure I don't move it too far away. I'm going to hit ungroup, and I'm going to move this S. I'm going to highlight. I'm actually going to use the cursor on my computer, and I'm going to move it a little further away. And now I'm going to do this. Now we're going to hit group, and I'm going to hit weld. I'm also going to change my color because the black obviously doesn't look like it's going to show up. I'm going to go back to this gold. Now, the size is 3.1. We could go a little bit bigger. I think we said 4. Let me check my notes. Yes, so around 4. So this is going to be our text. Now what's really great about this is if I go to make it right now, I'm not going to do it just yet. We have our print and cut version. We have our cut version. This is just going to be the vinyl underneath the Waterslide because it's transparent. And then we have her name and the other United States Marine Corps. She's a nurse. I'm not going to put RN under it because I don't know if she would want that or not. I won't be giving this to her for about a week or so. And I figure I can always make her another one with a different design. So we'll go ahead and we'll leave it at this. I'm going to hit cancel and just make sure I have all my mats ready. So the first thing I'm going to do is turn on my printer, and then we're going to go ahead and start our work. So I have already printed this part out. I don't want to cut it yet because I kind of want it to dry, and I also need to seal it. I want to seal it before I cut it. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go down to my cut. I'm going to have everything set, and this is just going to be a piece of white vinyl. You can use Oracle 631 or Oracle 651. You're going to be epoxying it in anyway, so I don't think you're going to find much of a difference. We're going to go ahead and cut our background out with Oracle. I believe I have 651, so we're going to do that next. So here is our Marine logo. It's on our Waterslide transparent paper. And then here I have the Oracle. This is going to do the background for that. I'm going to go ahead and hit ready. Where is it? There it is. So we're going to cut this out, and then we're going to go ahead and work on our lettering. Next we're going to do Shannon in USMC. I have the paper loaded in the Cricut, and we're going to go ahead and get it ready to go. And then we're going to let this cut. This is not mirrored because it's going on a tumbler, so we're going to break out the transfer tape. We're going to wait for this to cut, and then we'll go ahead and then we will work on our Waterslide. Okay, so now we have our tumbler and we have the start of our design. So I have my transfer tape here. I have our beginning of the design here. So the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to have this, the logo is going to go up here. So we can go ahead and put this on there now. And that way we can kind of center everything else. So this is just vinyl. This one is 651 Oracle. We're going to lay down here first, and then we're going to go off to the side. It looks like it's going to lay down very well. Okay, and I think we're going to do the USMC. This transfer tape has been well loved. We're going to put it right about here. Start here and then go down. I have a little piece of Oracle there that I don't want to put on the cup, so I have to be a little careful. Get that off a little bit later. So we have that part. Now we're going to turn the cup around. We're going to be going this way. I don't know if this one's long enough. It might be if I go like this. It is. Okay, I brought a bigger piece just in case. I just wasn't sure. And I wiped this down with alcohol and let it dry. I just wanted to make sure it was all cleaned up from all the sanding. Just See, our logo is here, so we're going to go right there. And I thought that this would show up a little bit better than black lettering. And I try to keep it to the color scheme as best I could with the vinyl that I had. Okay, just back on here for later. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we now need to go and prep our logo for this part of the cup. Okay, so what I've done is I have one of these where our waters come in this at the grocery store. I saved this. I just saw that on the ground. I'm going to put this in here. We're going to go outside. We're going to spray it 3 times with this. Then, we should be letting it sit for about 20 minutes after each squirt. If you want to rush it, you can squirt, heat gun, squirt, heat gun, squirt, heat gun. But I'm going to go ahead and just go ahead and do it the other way, and then we still need to cut it. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to change my plans. I'm going to cut it now before, because I'm worried that this might get a little gunky on my Cricut needle. So I'm going to cut it first, and then I'll spray it down. So we'll be back. Okay, we're back. So I have this at warm water. I have a silicone brush here. I went ahead and sealed this 3 times. It was cut completely on the Cricut using cardstock mode. So we're going to go ahead and just dip it in there. Let it start to release. And give it just a few seconds more. And we will check it. Not yet. I can see it starting to lift on the ends because I can see the white. All right, there it is. It's starting. Just make sure it's loosened. Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to slide it on here and try to fit it. Let's make this a little bit more wet here. And try and fit it here. Like a piece of it is stuck here. We're going to move it so it's a little bit more straight. Get all the water out. And it's cut great because I don't see any of the white vinyl underneath it. So we're just going to make sure we have all the water out so that this dries properly. I've already retaped it, by the way, up here because I'm going to get it ready for our next epoxy. I'm not sure if we're going to do 1 or 2 coats yet. We'll kind of see how it goes there. So I'm going to let this dry out. We're going to actually give it several hours, and then we'll go ahead and start the epoxy. I just want to make sure because there's a little wrinkle there. I kind of wanted to get it out with the brush here. Okay, all the air bubbles are gone. And we're just going to leave it like this for a little bit, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get it on the turner. Okay, so we've let the decal dry now. It's been about, I don't know, 5 hours or so. I'm sure it's more than dry. I just wanted to make sure, and plus we had some errands to run anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mix our epoxy. I'm going to put 10 mLs in each of these, and then I'm going to mix it all into one, and I'm going to mix that for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll start epoxying. Okay, so we are mixed and we're ready to go. I already have my electrical tape on with the tail. I already have my spinner on, and we're going to start. I actually plan on doing 2 coats of epoxy on this cup. Trying to run all the extra down. So I put 10 cc's or 10 mLs of each A and B. All the supplies that I'm using are in the links below. And again, these are just dollar store cups because this is where I practice the techniques. And of course, if she wants a bigger one, I am more than happy to do it for her. I just like to figure out how it's done first. But also, you know, in case she wants to change up the design or something, I'll know what she wants and we can go from there. I didn't put her credentials. She's also a nurse, and I wasn't sure with this cup if she was going to want her credentials on in case she goes out somewhere. I honestly don't know. So I thought I would just kind of leave that alone for now, and then she can tell me if she wants her next one to have it on there or not, and I'm happy to do it for her. And so we probably could have gotten away with doing 5 cc's of each A and B to equal 10 cc's total. But this is fine. Make sure we have a good coat on because we have a lot of red chunky glitter on this one. It's very shiny. And what's nice is that whatever's left in here, when it dries, the mixture, once it's mixed, A and B, it peels right out. It's like gum that's dried on your hand. It's great. Let's just peel it right off and throw it away. A and B separately over here, I would wipe out with a paper towel, and then I would do some warm soapy water. And I have my heat gun on standby, so as soon as I am satisfied with this here and on the bottom, which I am, I'm getting there. And actually the little placemat that you see, the blue one under here, is also from the dollar store. And what I've learned is they're very long. So I cut them up, just what I need, because what happens is if you get a little bit of epoxy here that you don't even see right now, and you start folding it up, it's a mess. So I just cut what I need for the day's projects, and then I will toss it afterwards if I can't salvage it. But like I'm dripping over here and I didn't even, you know. So I think we're good. I have a little bit left over, so I guess on these cups you could probably get away probably doing 5 cc's of each A and B for the Amazing Lumelite. And then I do plan on doing one more coat after this. So we're going to let this spin for about 5 hours. Then we'll do another coat, and we'll let it spin again. Okay, so when you see this again, what you'll be seeing is the actual finished product. I'm going to put this off to the side and get rid of this glove because it's yucky. I didn't use my silicone brush, I completely forgot. And then I'm just going to gently go back and forth, really kind of fast, with the heat gun to get any air bubbles out. Okay, so we'll see you when we're finished.